The scale is a liar. This has almost become a cliche phrase because of so many people that are driven stark raving mad by the lack of weight loss, by wild weight loss fluctuations in their daily, weekly, or monthly weigh-ins, right? So, what do you do? How do you make sense of this? Many people think that the answer is just kind of throwing in the towel or throwing away the scale, not using the scale as a measure, but that can be a point of frustration as well. So while I sympathize with the frustration, I just would tell you, don't ditch your scale. There's something that you should do instead. Focus on the body. Focus on body composition. Your ratio of fat to muscle is known as body composition, and it's one of the major proponents of ideal ways to judge your progress. So instead of obsessing about every single day scale readings on your scale, shift your focus to body composition. Find an outfit that you can hang up, try to get into that outfit. The scale is not your enemy, it can be your friend if you know how to use your friend and the results and feedback, as well as the data, to not intimidate you, but as something that you can learn from instead of being emotional about. So obsessing over what the scale says without considering body composition and daily and weekly fluctuations is pretty troublesome. So don't be deceived. I'm here to tell you how the scale lies to you is this: weight and fat are not the same. You would have to eat 3,500 additional calories to gain a pound of fat. The only thing the scale can do is measure your total body weight. That includes everything: fat, muscle, bone, organs, blood, water, gut contents, and muscle glycogen. The scale lies and doesn't allow you to see how much of what is what, right? How much fat and how much muscle do we have versus how much water. So, number 2, most scale weight or scale focused dieters assume that weight loss is a good thing and weight gain is a bad thing. But what if the weight gain is 100% pure muscle? Is that bad? What if half the weight you lost was actually muscle? Could that be good? And that can happen if you don't use the strategies to build and feed muscle while you're dieting or losing weight, like I talked about the other day. So, muscle is the weight you want to keep, where fat is the weight you want to shed. The two of them are completely different. How the scale lies to us is by water weight fluctuations primarily. Your body weight can fluctuate 2 to 4 pounds any day for any given reason, but primarily from water alone. So that shift can even be greater over time if you drink less water one day versus another and you're on a diet, especially one that restricts or reduces carbohydrate content, or maybe you're on a carb cycle, because the heavier you are to start, the bigger the first week's weight loss is going to be, including water. So, or it's pretty likely. Losing water weight is easy. When I was in college, I had a couple wrestler friends who would drop up to 15 pounds overnight to make weight in a weight class. Same thing with bodybuilding, same thing with weightlifting. They'd use natural diuretics, saunas, sweatsuits, and other methods of dehydration to trick themselves into losing more water weight. So if you're not a weight class athlete, you probably don't understand that. But it is not good to lose water weight, to only gain it back as quickly as you lost it, causing even more confusion and less clarity. So that's how diets fool you. Last but not least, the scale lies to you in another form of misinformation, which is glycogen. Carbs are stored in the muscle as glycogen, and water is stored along with them. For every 1 gram of carb, 3 grams of water. That's why your weight can tick up a few pounds when you eat more carbs, add sodium, and you may also gain a little bit more just from having different amounts of sodium and different amounts of water. For those wanting fat loss, the sudden increase in the scale without knowing about body fluctuations, composition, etc., could cause people to really freak out, but I don't want you to do that. For those wanting muscle gain, the increase on the scale without knowing about the body could actually be very exciting, and it could be a cause for celebration. So there's 2 different types, but both the panic and the celebration are premature. The scale lied again in both directions. The burner didn't gain fat weight and the builder didn't gain muscle mass. It all has to be measured using an accurate method, right? It was just glycogen and water that came along with it. So the best thing to do is have some testing done in a DEXA scan. The scale can also lie to you by telling you that everything that you eat is scale weight, but everything in your gastrointestinal tract has weight. So if you've eaten some heavy meals recently or higher fat, or you weigh more in the evening, don't do that. Weigh yourself in the morning, get a consistent reading. If you don't eat anything for a day, you could lose a lot of weight literally overnight from having less bulk in the GI. Rest assured, that weight you lose is not just body fat. You can't lose that much fat in only one day. So you've got to keep things in perspective. This would also explain weight loss seen as fat loss, or some sort of magical pill when you do a colon cleanse, and why people feel the urge to cleanse their colons unless their gastroenterologist told them not to or to do that. I'll never really understand this method, yet this is one of the oldest weight loss scams in the book, just like wraps. The weight loss is not fat. It isn't with a wrap either. So keep moving forward. Stop allowing the scale to keep you from your long-term goals by adding short-term emotion.